What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another video from Pink Tourmaline. And as I've mentioned many times on this channel in multiple videos, the purpose of this channel is to try and get an understanding of why we are here, the purpose of life, and to explore that through multiple means. One of the primary means being near-death experiences, which I believe are just such underrated tools or underrated experiences that I think people need to really examine much more so to get a better idea of why we're here, what is the point of coming into this physical reality, where we go after this physical reality, etc. Now, I just stumbled upon an amazing near-death experience. It was posted 3 years ago, and there's 4 different clips that I want to play for you guys. I mean, this is just blowing me away. This gentleman is somebody that I think had a lot of trauma in his life, as he mentioned in this video. I didn't include those bits. He also had some really bad experiences with drugs. I believe that's what led to him passing away, at least temporarily, and having this near death experience. But I want to show you guys 4 of these key takeaways, and we're going to discuss them as we go through. But it's just so powerful. It's so uplifting. I think it hits the nail right on the head in multiple ways and echoes the sentiments of so many other near-death experiences. And I think therein lies the true strength of near-death experiences in terms of how reliable they are. And I think the fact that they should be given a lot more credibility than they are, I think probably in like mainstream science or whatnot, is because of the overlaps. There's so many people that tend to say the same things, and they're not really being, I'd say, manipulated by pre-existing beliefs, but they just seem to center on similar themes throughout. One of the biggest is the life review. And this life review is not talked about really in many. Maybe it is talked about in some religions, and I'm not aware, but like the fact that this life review is so common, and the general idea that is echoed is, yo, we are here to grow, to improve. This is life as a school, and that's echoed in this near-death experience. I think these commonalities really give them, in my opinion, a lot of credibility because they're all from disparate sources. So anyways, we're going to get into the mix. Like I said, this is going to be a fun video, a happy video, a positive video. So let's get right to the mix. Now, the first thing is a little excerpt here where he talks about this idea that the purpose of life is growth. And I think there's such beauty in the simplicity of this notion, as opposed to having multiple, let's say, rules or things to follow, all these different stipulations that I think a lot of times are dictated in mainstream religion. In fact, most near-death experience folks that come back from the other side, they're not listing off a long laundry list of things that you need to do this on a daily basis or that. It's just like, yo, be good to people, spread positivity, and you're here to learn and grow. And the point of hardships and difficulties and pain and all that stuff and suffering is for your benefit ultimately. So we're going to play this little clip right now, and he's going to go back and talk about this even more in the last clip. That last clip is so money, but check this out.
So I noticed that all things exist in one moment, and that we're just perceptions of that one moment. And it was clear that this life is a purpose of growth. So all the lessons and all the things that we went through, their meaning for it was for growth. But ultimately, the meaning of life, though, was not necessarily life's meaning, but our own meaning that we put on our own experiences. And then everything just started to kind of now flash as far as my experiences, as far as like certain events or people. And there were people that I hurt, people that I affected in negative ways. I felt all their pain. I felt what they felt. I felt their anger towards me, but I also felt people that actually I did affect in positive ways. I felt their love for me, their care.
So again, that's what he's talking about right there, is what's commonly called a life review. So he's talking about all the people that he impacted and people that impacted him, and then he's experiencing their emotions, what he did to them, whether it was positive or negative. And this is echoed many times in near-death experiences. So let's go back to the first thing that he said, that the purpose of life is kind of the purpose that you put on it. And that to me resonates and makes so much sense, because again, if it's about personal growth, it's about improving or raising your vibration of your soul, of your energy body. The idea is you can have good things and bad things happen to you in this life. But again, if you come down to the growth element, the growth aspect, it's probably going to come down to, are you going to be in victim mode, or are you going to take ownership for things that you've done and try and become better and try and improve and be more self-aware, be kinder, be better? So I think that's what he means, or that's the meaning that I'm extracting from that, where the purpose of life is kind of what you put on it. Then there's the second part about the life review. I believe that life review, now this is just a hot take. He doesn't say this. I haven't really heard anybody say this, but I feel like that's also probably part of the learning process. Like I'm sure we learn a lot while we're here, a tremendous amount, but I think then the life review is almost like a reflection, and we learn as well by feeling maybe the negative emotions that we inflicted upon people and we can take that and learn from and be like, wow, that's really empowering from an empathy standpoint. And then likewise, hopefully the positive things that we did, we can see like, wow, we really made a big difference. We really affected somebody in a positive way. And that probably is the end. It's almost like an exit interview. When you leave a job, you can give feedback, you can get feedback, and you can take that with you as an improved person going to whatever your next place of employment is. All right. The next little excerpt that I pulled here is, he mentions that there is a job for you here. Again, the idea is there's a purpose for you, for me, for everybody on this planet, regardless of our specific vocation on this planet, regardless of where you feel you fit in the grand scheme of things, what you think about status and all that stuff that we hyper focus on. Every single person has an individual purpose and an individual job, and he's going to touch on that now.
The whole message from these beings that are like spirit guides or whatever you want to call them, which I think is spirit guides, but the whole message was that you're not done. There's a certain job for you. There was a reason why you came, and it's not just to hang out and kind of have a life and get through, but you have a job, like a purpose, like a bigger purpose than what you would think you would have. And so
and again, I think it all goes back to what he mentioned at the beginning, this idea of growth. Like I said, in the last clip, the fourth clip, you got to wait for it because it's going to be amazing. He goes into more detail about what this general purpose is in terms of raising your energy and your soul's vibration and whatnot. He calls it a signature. It's really, really cool. It's really, really powerful. And I think that's the right idea, right? We all have a purpose, and that purpose is likely entangled in many other people's purpose as well. We're there to play a role to improve ourselves, but also maybe things that we are doing on this planet and interacting with other energy bodies and souls and people, that's impacting them in positive and or negative ways. And what a lot of folks say too, they talk about this in Journey of Souls as well, is that a lot of this is mapped out ahead of time in term right before you re-enter the physical plane and enter this planet or whatever it may be. A lot of the interactions are kind of like predicted, which I know is crazy because it feels like we're all in a free world society, and maybe it's hard for us to think 4-dimensionally, 5-dimensionally, out 11 whatever the dimensions are that they can all see clearly when you're in the ethereal plane. I know it's hard for us to even imagine that something like that could be possible and even predictable. But again, I'm just quoting kind of from Journey of Souls and a lot of these NDEs that our lives are roughly planned out like this. And a lot of the people that we're going to impact largely and that are going to impact us largely, it's somewhat preordained. So take it for what you will, but this is not just me opining. This is what many, many people have said over and over, and I'm just repeating that. Okay, this is another cool little excerpt that I wanted to share where he actually talks about his future, but I feel like this has greater relevance to all of us because we're in this super weird time right now where the earth is about to experience massive, massive change in a very short period of time because of AGI. And I made a video actually a couple days ago about AGI saying that I believe that ultimately, and yes, I'm kind of choosing to believe this because of course we don't ultimately know, but I am on the side that I believe the AGI revolution will ultimately end up being a positive thing where it will free us from kind of like a society where we're trading time and goods for other time and goods or monetary gains. And instead, we're going to get to this place of such maximum abundance that we can refocus on exactly what this guy is talking about. The fact that life is about growth, and a lot of the growth is going to, and pain and suffering and pleasure is all going to come from our interactions with other people and those relationships. And we can focus on those things more wholeheartedly, because I think ultimately that is the at the very top of the list in terms of what we're supposed to be doing here. Obviously, it can't just come down to physical goods, monetary goods. These things are all there. They all go when we go. We don't take them with us. So I think everybody at some logical level knows it's not about that. It's not about setting your even your family for generations and generations and generations. It can't be about just that, because again, everything here is ephemeral. There's nothing, no matter if you live 1,000 years, that's still going to end at some point. It has to be something bigger. And the bigger thing is that spiritual growth. Anyways, I digress, but he talks about the future. And to me, it's not very specific, but to me, it hints at a very positive future, at a world that has changed, but in a positive way. So I'm going to play this, and then you guys judge for yourself.
The room that was all bright started to light up and became like a holographic projection, and it was surrounding me. And from there, I got to see my future. So when people say like the future of future Earth, I'd say it's my future Earth, if you will. And I saw where I would live. I saw what I'd be doing. I saw the air, how fresh it was, how clean. Everything seemed different. Like the world was definitely changed in a big way, because that world, what I saw, just couldn't exist without the world going through a radical change. So I have a big belief in that we are heading to some great change. Whatever that looks like, I don't know, but I guess we'll have to all
I mean, we all know we're about to head to a big change. I mean, to me, look, I'm choosing to take that as a positive message. He's saying the air was so clean and fresh, and the world looked completely different, which is what I think is going to happen in the very near future as AGI progresses at these alarming rates. I mean, it's just going to be absolutely crazy. I don't even think we're capable of fully imagining the transformative effect of AGI, because the intelligence is going to be so far beyond what we possess in this physical realm. So that to me is a very positive, uplifting message, and kind of it just reinforces, I guess, what I was stating in my AGI video that I made the other day. All right, now we're gonna get to this final slide, this final little video clip, and he says, "Life is a game." I love this. Again, that might make life sound trivial or something, right? But you shouldn't look at it that way. I don't think that's the point of what he's trying to say, or what anybody says when they talk about life being a game. I think that the main message is, just like a game, we have objectives, we want to learn, we want to get better, and we want to extract the most out of this experience. On top of that, I think that the other positive way to take this message when you think about life being a game is that when we go in and enter games, video games, board games, like if we lose or we die in the game or whatever, it's not the end of the world. It's just, oh, we lose. Okay, we played a game, we lost. Okay, we move on to the next thing. But the lessons that we extracted from that game, whether it was problem solving, whether it was strategy, whether it was good sportsmanship, we take those with us. And I think that's the same idea with life on this planet. Whatever happens, however it ends, whatever we learn, we take with us into our next life, or into the ethereal, etc. Anyways, so he's going to now talk about this idea of life being a game, but really hammers out the purpose, why we are here, and what our objective is in general. Obviously, we have individual goals and objectives based on where we're at spiritually in terms of our evolution, but the overarching idea is for all of us to improve and to get better.
being outside of my life gave me an amazing perspective on life being, to me, more like a game that we choose to play in order to win, as far as challenges, fears. Like, we're here to develop and grow, to become better people, to treat people better, and not just people, but all life, animals, plants, and the earth. And so our growth equals a change in our soul. So like, our soul comes here with a specific signature, and then the goal is to leave this life with that signature slightly altered to the positive. And we get that through struggle, through resistance, through hardship, through experience. Not just all negative, but we also get it through positivity, through happiness. But experience itself is what grows us if we learn. And negative lessons are about learning. And we get the signature change by actually learning from the lesson instead of becoming victims. We choose these lessons to grow us, and then we take from it and we become victors, if you will.
It's just so awesome, and it resonates with me so much. Again, because for multiple reasons, I feel like it just feels like the truth in my heart, if you will. But also, what he's saying, it overlaps with so many other accounts from Journey of Souls, from countless other NDEs as well. So it really resonates with me on multiple levels. Now, when he's using his own vocabulary to try and describe what he learned, but the way that I've often thought about this, he's calling it a signature. The way that I think about this is kind of like a charge, just like a magnet. You can have a negative charge or a positive charge. And if you ever seen, like, sometimes you're trying to get a charge to go from a magnet to, whatever, another magnet, or a piece of steel. If you remember, as a science experiment when you're a kid, you're kind of rubbing it in one direction and you can magnetize an object. That's what I kind of envision what we're trying to be doing here. We have a particular, whether, depending, let's say we're 70% positive, 30% negative, or whatever it may be. We're trying to, through this life, with positive thinking, with nice interpretation, not being victim, etc., not being a victim, etc., you can basically change your spin to be more and more positive, and that's the ultimate objective, so that you leave here in this one particular life right now that you're living, you leave better than you came. And I think that's the general idea. So I don't know. This NDE I thought was beautiful. I thought the way he articulated everything was incredible, and I think it's very uplifting. So if you guys have also stumbled upon this video and are also trying to learn more about why we are here, number one, I think there's a lot more answers out there than you may have originally thought. That's what got me to want to make this channel and spread the word that we don't have to just look at specific things that we were brought up in terms of only religious texts, ancient religious texts or whatnot. There's a whole, and I'm not saying to even dismiss that per se. It's not, that's not the message. But my point is there's a lot of other current material that's constantly coming through the ethereal to us via NDEs and via other means. And I think we should take a look at it. And I think there's a lot of wisdom and a lot of amazing messages that come through. So if you're seeking it, it's out there. And hopefully if you're new to this channel and you had some of these questions, I'm the one that's brought it to you. And if so, I'm happy to do that. Thank you guys so much for joining. Leave anything in the comments. If you have any questions that you want me to, things that you want me to dig deeper on. I'm having a lot of fun with this channel. It feels like part of what is part of my calling on this planet. And even though it's a small channel right now, yeah, it makes me feel really good whenever I get a good video idea and I get to make some content, especially when I get good positive comments as well. So that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.